Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. I know, the video is probably not what you expected after reading the title, but you know, this is a video that I not only want my subscribers to see, but I want to reach out to as many cop haters and people who unrealistically judge the police, and you know, see if they get anything out of this. And if they don't, then I know that you guys that subscribe will, so that's why I'm doing it. But before I get into it, I want to give I want to build up the video for you, so put it in context. One of the things that happened after I was severely injured on the police department was I tried to keep my job. And so instead of just accepting a medical pension, you know, I had spinal injuries and the whole bit. I thought, well, better to work the desk and still be amongst my brethren. I just couldn't see life outside of that uniform. And for those of you that are new here, I'm retired LAPD. I know I'm wearing an NYPD hat, but they're all my brothers and sisters. So it came to pass that when I was well enough after my surgery on my neck and treatments for my back, I came back to work in a very limited capacity and against a lot of people's advice. They said, hey man, you know, some nutcase could dive over the desk and paralyze you for life. Believe it or not, that's the last thing that actually happened. A nutcase did dive over the desk when I was working there, and fortunately I wasn't hurt, but that was the end of it, and then I ended up having to leave. But before that happened, I spent some time at the front desk in Hollywood Division, and it came to pass that a very despondent and depressed young man called the desk talking about suicide. And contrary to what a lot of people thought, you know, we didn't have any miraculous ways to trace numbers, and you know, this is back in the 90s. I mean, there was no caller ID at the desk of the police departments, at least in Los Angeles. So this guy would call up and talk about how this girl was the final straw. This girl had done him wrong, that he was in love with, and he didn't want to live anymore, and he could think of no legitimate reason why he should keep sucking air off this planet. And contrary to popular belief, I am not the brutish person that I might appear to be. I've kicked my share of ass that needed kicking in my day, but I never really, well, I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. Some of it I did. Some people, believe it or not, need their asses kicked. But I have a very compassionate side as well. Not to mention my own sister jumped off of a tall building in New York City and committed suicide, and that was a lot to deal with. So I took suicide very serious. And I knew this guy wasn't just looking for attention. I could feel his pain right through the phone lines. Well, the first time he called, we talked maybe about an hour. I would put him on hold when I had to, you know, answer somebody's question or answer the phone. I worked in the middle of the night, so graveyard hours. Wasn't a lot of activity at the desk. I ended that first call with him promising me that he would not take his life. I mean, I tried to talk him into calling a hotline, and you know, I did all the things that you would expect a professional to do, and I hoped that he listened to me. And the next night I get another call, and it's Joshua, same guy, crying his eyes out, very depressed, you know. And at that point, you know, after some pretty long and heavy conversation, I shared a lot of my personal life story with him, which some of you that know me know that, you know, I didn't come from the Brady Bunch. I'm not saying I'm a victim. I wouldn't change anything for the world, because everything that you go through and survive makes you who you are. But no bed of roses for me growing up. And so I shared a lot of that with him. He cried, and quite frankly, so did I on the phone. And here I was, just this broken cop, trying to struggle to hang on to his identity. And this guy was a broken young man trying to hang on to a reason to live. And so it went. And once again, he promised me that he would keep his promise, and he promised that he wouldn't kill himself that night, but he couldn't guarantee he wasn't going to do it sooner or later. For about 5 days, I guess, almost a week, I would talk to this guy Joshua every night. And there was nothing I could do. We did not know where this guy was. And then one night, it had happened. There was a radio call that went out of this guy who was talking about committing suicide. He was going to blow his brains out. I wasn't even aware of it, being at the desk. I don't even think I heard it on the radio, but long story short, the officers that responded there were talking to this guy through a door. He was almost a barricaded suspect. I mean, he said he had a gun to his head, and that the only person he would allow himself to be taken out of that apartment by was Officer Weiss. That would be me. Now, the dilemma was that I'm sitting in the desk and I'm under extreme orders. I can't go out in the field. And he was very adamant, and I'm going to shorten the video and just tell you that there was a lot of back and forth between the officers. I got a hold of the officers finally when the watch commander informed me what was going on. I gave him some tips to things they could say. None of it worked. They need to, he's willing to go for a 72-hour hold, get some mental treatment, but he's only going to submit to arrest or to be taken into custody by Officer Weiss. Well, this would never happen in today's law enforcement world, but a very forward-thinking and brave sergeant debated with the watch commander, and they authorized me to be driven out to the location, fully uniformed, but certainly no position to be in a physical altercation. And when I got there, they advised him I was there. I yelled up the stairs, I had the sergeant, hey man, are you sure you want to do this kind of thing? And I trusted this guy, maybe naively, but I really did trust him after having talked to him for so many hours. I yelled up the stairs, hey Josh, it's Officer Weiss, I'm coming in, man. Don't do anything stupid, and please don't have a gun in your hand. In fact, before I come in, I need you to take your shirt off and stand there with your hands where I can see them. It's only going to be me, I promise you. When I said that, I actually heard the gun get set down, and he said it's okay to come in. I went in with my gun out. There he was, standing there in his pants with no shirt on. I could see the gun on the table. I asked him to walk toward me, turn around, hands behind the back, and I handcuffed him. And he started crying, and we transported him to a mental facility for a 72-hour hold. And the story would have been interesting if it ended there. And I thought it did. But some of you know I'm in the middle of a remodeling job at the house. And as part of that, you want to go in the water, Charlie? Hang on a second, let me let the dog go in the water. That water's kind of yucky. Let's go this way for the water. You want to go there? Hang on, wait, let me take off your leash. That's kind of yucky though. All right, what the heck? Oh, he wants to go on the dock. Let me reject this call. So, where you going, Charlie? Hopefully I'm still recording. So basically what happened was I was going through some boxes, and lo and behold, at the very bottom of a box was an old rolled folded up letter, and it was a letter that I had forgotten all about that I received from Josh after he had submitted to more than 72 hours of treatment. He had pretty much been committed. Come here, Charlie, come here. He allowed himself like a voluntary commitment. And I just wanted to read that letter to you. And here it is. This is the letter from Josh to me. To Mike. So finally, here I am, out of the hospital. You know, if I wouldn't go to the hospital, who knows what would have happened to me. Now I gotta thank Michael Weiss for what he did to me. Thanks to him, now I got a different idea of this world. Now I think about the future of what's coming next. Now I feel that my life has changed in a way that people want me to be. I really don't remember what happened. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was lost, depressed, sad, confused, and I had a fear. But now is totally different. Now I gotta be the Joshua that Mike wants to see. And now is my chance to show Mike, strike that. And now is my chance to show the whole world that life is beautiful and that I am still young. I also believe that Michael did this to me because he wants to see a new Joshua. And you know, I'm going to please him. I'm going to let him see that all of his talking, advice, and his beautiful support really worked. Mike, let me tell you that you are a wonderful person. And you know, your attitude is awesome. I remember that we met over the phone, and since then, I could tell that you were not just any police officer. That's why God placed you in that position, because you really care for people. And I know that you are like that, not just with me. You are like that with everybody. But you know what? You were too special to me. You were so worried about me, and you did it because God gave you a special, beautiful, great heart. Thank you, Michael, for all the time that you spent with me, for all of your sincere support, for all of your understanding. You know, I don't have nothing to offer you, but let me tell you that you got a special person inside of you, and I believe that you should continue like that. Really, Michael. I thank you a lot. I know very well that you didn't have to do what you did for me. God will pay you for all of this. God will always bless you and your family. You know, by the way, I can tell that you have, by the way you are, I can tell that you have a beautiful family, a family that probably will last forever. Now, Michael, I'm going to let you see a new Joshua because that's what you want and because you deserve it. All of the support gotta have a reward. And remember, when we were talking at the station about my problem, it was the day I told you that I was going to go to the hospital. Remember that you told me that one day we were going to have a beer together and we would be laughing about all of this shit and forget that bitch Annie. And you know what? We will. As soon as I got a job and my first paycheck, I'm going to invite you for dinner. And I hope you won't say no, Mike. Never change, never act different. Like keep it like that. God will always be with you and your family. Let me tell you that you mean to me a lot. On those days that I was lost, I didn't know where to go. I didn't listen to no one. I felt that they were not sincere. The only one that really touched my heart was you, Michael, because you were like my dad, my brother, or more than that. Thank you, Michael. Thank you a lot. Like I said, God will reward you for all of this. And remember, you are not just a cop. You're a cop that really protects his community. And that's great. I wish you the best. I wish the best for you and your lovely family. Take care, Mike. And be like you have always been, I got nothing else to say, but thank you very much for all of your good, sincere, meaningful support. Thank you, Michael Weiss. God will be in your heart, and he will protect your family. You are awesome, Mike. And his name was Joshua Vargas. And that was July 6th, 1995. Well, there you have it. Those were words from a very, very confused and depressed young man. And you can see, hopefully, how powerful they were. I mean, when you think about it, this is a 2-page letter. And to get somebody who's clearly not an English major to sit down and struggle through 2 pages of an emotional, heartfelt letter, that's saying something. That's somebody that truly believes in what they're saying. And it touched me when I read it after all these years. I couldn't help but wonder whatever happened to him. But whatever happened to him, whatever became of him, there was a moment in time when a young man was so despondent that he didn't want to be on this planet. And this big 6'4", mean-looking, ass-kicking police officer touched him in a way that allowed him to be saved, at least temporarily. And I wanted to share that with you. LMS Tactical, I'm out.